Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Just wanted to give a quick update on Hurricane Hanna that's out there impacting Texas today. Before we get into it, if you guys could hit that like and subscribe button, it'd really help me out a lot. I put a lot into these videos, so it would really help me. I'd really appreciate it. So getting right into it, currently 10 a.m. advisory per the National Hurricane Center. We have maximum sustained winds of 80 miles an hour, movement west at 7 miles an hour. We have hurricane warnings from portions of southern Texas up to Corpus Christi, and tropical storm warnings extending outward of that. Currently a Category 1 hurricane, and we expect it to stay that way throughout landfall. Now, getting into the recent satellite for Hurricane Hanna, we see possible eye developing a whole lot of convection, those cold cloud tops, those whites, and those pinks that you see. That indicates a strengthening storm, not a whole lot of dry air in there as we saw beforehand about yesterday or so. So we're seeing a little bit of an eye develop as that convection really tries to wrap around the center of the storm. Like I said, indicates a strengthening storm, tightening circulation. Thankfully, this is not going to be over water for that much longer. Landfall, I'm expecting in about 3 hours, 3 to 5 hours from now, depending on when you see this video. Currently, it's 12:20 Eastern Time. So expect landfall about 3 to 5 hours from now. Definitely going to give this storm a little bit more time to strengthen, but that luckily not going to be for a whole lot longer, else we'd likely be talking about a run at a major hurricane, especially with those warm waters in the Gulf of Mexico. The shear that was initially impacting the system from the north kind of dissipated, not really there anymore, hence why we're seeing such a rapidly intensifying storm. This is actually the first storm that has undergone rapid intensification in 2020. We had this storm go from a 40-mile-an-hour tropical storm to an 80-mile-an-hour hurricane, more than beating out the criteria for rapid intensifications for tropical cyclones in the Atlantic Ocean. Now, currently, there's no recon plane in there. Unfortunate, but we will get one in there later today. I believe the National Hurricane Center has a plane in there about to fly out right now. Last pass of the center of the storm, I believe they found 979 millibars, and I can almost guarantee that that is definitely lower now, as presentation of the satellite radar has definitely gone up and become more impressive throughout the morning, especially over the last 2 to 3 hours that the storm was able to filter out a little bit of dry air. You could see to the east of the center a little bit warmer cloud tops, indicating some dry air was in there, but I believe a lot of that is filtered out of the center, as we're going to see on the radar presentation after this. All indicative of a strengthening tropical cyclone. Now, moving to the current radar image, this is the latest radar scan out of Corpus Christi, the Corpus Christi radar. Currently, we do have a little bit of dry air intrusion, as I said, to the east of the system, as you could see by no radar returns over there. But over the last couple hours, radar presentation has greatly strengthened. As seen by those deep oranges and yellows and reds, very strong core of the system. Now, that's where the hurricane force winds are. Really big eye. That eye is actually starting to compact a little bit, which is showing us that this storm likely is still strengthening, and that'll be proven by the recon that goes in there over the next couple hours. Not a whole lot of rain outside of the core. We do have some outer bands, especially to the east of the system. The only reason this is going to be a real rainmaker is because we're moving rather slow, only at 7 miles an hour to the west. Some models really have that slowing to a crawl, about 5 miles an hour as we approach landfall, which definitely isn't good for flooding and those areas that are going to be impacted by the eye wall. So as I said, another 3 to 5 hours before landfall. Definitely going to keep an eye on this for strengthening. If you want real-time updates, make sure to follow my Twitter and my Facebook at Mike B. Weather. That's where a lot of my updates are going to be. But we aren't done yet. We have one more system to talk about. 92L, recently dubbed 92L. An invest just came off Africa, given a 60% chance of development over the next 5 days, only a 10% chance of development over the next 2 days, and we'll see why that is. Currently moving west, not very fast, but expecting development over the next 5 days as we move towards the Leeward Islands. This is the current satellite presentation of 92L. Nothing too impressive. A lot of warmer cloud tops. Looked better yesterday, but this just got out over the ocean. You could kind of see a little bit of circulation there. Definitely not good if it has already kind of tried to develop a center of circulation, as that's one less thing it needs to develop. This one definitely has potential, especially as it moves west towards the United States. Not going to be a whole lot of wind shear out there, not a whole lot of dry air. Very, very warm, almost record warm sea surface temperatures. Not a whole lot in the way of stopping this one from developing and getting rather strong. So we're definitely going to have to keep an eye on this one as it moves west. Although not looking too impressive right now, bet you if you come back in 3-4 days, this thing's going to look much, much nicer. Now, lastly, looking at the European ensembles, can really see the track of 92L. You see Hanna by Texas. You see the remnants of Gonzalo over to the south, just north of South America. But focusing on 92L, we see it's developing around a little east of 40 west, about 35 west, moving to the west and strengthening as it does so. Now, past 3 or 4 days, there's not an exact track that can be pinpointed. The models are all over the place, from the Gulf of Mexico, Florida, up the East Coast, but something that we're definitely going to have to keep an eye on. However, something we're likely not going to know for at least another 3, 4, 5 days, the exact track of the system and who may be impacted. Right now, the areas that need to be on highest alerts: Dominican Republic, maybe even Jamaica, and definitely Puerto Rico. And then once we get past that, that's when we'll be able to pinpoint a little bit of a different area, uh, possibly towards America, the United States, and we'll definitely have to see where that goes. Especially once we get near the Bahamas, this could be a strengthening system, possibly a hurricane, and possibly even a strong hurricane. So we're definitely going to keep an eye on this one. Surprised it's only July and we're this active, but once we get into August and September, this hurricane season could really break a few records here for how active it's going to be. So that's all I have for you guys today. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe. It really helps me out, as I stated before. You guys have an awesome day. If you're in the path of Hurricane Hanna, make sure to stay safe. You guys have a great one. I'll be back later with some more videos. Make sure to follow my Twitter and Facebook at Mike B. Weather for more constant updates.